And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us, boy. The Cowboys are on a 2-game winning streak. They got a win at home, Brian Brothers. I will say this, man. Even though I'm draft guy, I'm tank guy, and I slowly but surely see McMillan getting away from us and all this Genty getting away from us, Brian Brothers. You saw me early on the social medias there. It was a cool little win to see us do cool things, because at the end of the day, we do have to evaluate this roster. And when you see good things from the roster, you feel good about that moving forward. I just wish that we'll somehow get this elite player in the draft and see good things from the roster, Brian Bros. But it was a good win overall, I think.
Yeah, for them to win 2 division games within 5 days, the Commander win, very impressive, because that's a team that I feel like is, going in the right direction. With their quarterback, their skill guys. There's some things on defense that the Commanders have to get better at. The Giants are a bad football team. And Drew Lock gave them an opportunity or a chance to win going in. And I was worried about that. With Tommy DeVito playing, we talked about it, you and I talked about it a little bit during the week, that Tommy DeVito playing, that's – you get after Tommy DeVito and you find a way to win the game. Drew Lock throws the ball well. You saw what Drew Lock running around can do. Their best rushing attack, or their best rusher, was Drew Lock running the football. It's something the Dallas Cowboys have had problems with really kind of all year. Offensively, you ran the ball with Rico Dowdle, backup right guard, with Hoffman getting in there doing a fine job. Giants give up 5 yards of carry running the football. You expected to do that, but this defense is becoming, or is getting better each week. The offense is what's going to hold you back.
Yeah.
The quarterback play, the first half of this football game was awful. The play caller will hold you back in this game, or in these games. So, they're going to play some teams, the Philadelphias again, the Cincinnatis. They're going to play some teams that can put up a lot of points, and they're not going to be good enough offensively to be able to stay with teams like that. And so some fans will probably get their wish of not winning and then keeping a draft position to where it needs to be. Yeah. And, but they're going to keep believing that they can win games. And, they did tonight, and it was against a bad football team, but, that's what they're paid to do.
I tell you what, Brian, winning cures all, because it's a
great deodorant.
It's been a couple of weeks in a row where we still look kind of weird on offense, and I say this about me and you talk about Mike McCarthy and his play call and all this. Like, it took them guys a long time to realize that if you just give the ball to Rico Dowdle, your run game will be fine. Also, it took them a while to go, hey, Turpin just gave you 2 of the fastest plays on the books in the analytics. Let's try to get him going, right? And then this week you saw them purposely try to get him going more than normal. But man, I'll just say this though, Brian Broadus, man. There's this old phrase that lives in my mind, this old adage that just lives in my mind. It says that a lie is fast, but the truth has endurance, Brian Broadus. And sometimes if you just hang around long enough, you'll start to see things develop and change a little bit. Let me give some credit to your friend, Mike Zimmer, here, because as much as I complain about Mike McCarthy and fuss about Mike McCarthy, I've turned a complete 180 on Mike Zimmer, because the more weeks that go by, the more time that we have in the system, the more healthy guys come back, you start to see Mike Zimmer actually save you in these games, Brian Bros. So just talk to us about the defense today and how they did.
Yeah, the defense, though, let's be honest, though, too, and I appreciate you giving the words about Mike Zimmer. Mike is a very good friend of mine. I'm not going to ever run away from that. Mike and I have been together for a long time. I love Mike Zimmer, but they were not a good football team, even with healthy players early in this football season. The loss against the Saints, there were some bad defensive performances, but they've kind of figured out some things. They figured out about Overshown. They figured about him as a rusher. They got Micah back going, to the direction that he needs to go. Mozzie Smith is playing better for you. Osa Odigizua playing for a contract. Kendricks is fine. Kendricks is always going to make tackles. You've got some young guys in the secondary. You lost 2 more guys tonight in the secondary, but you're going to maybe get Diggs back next week. There's a lot of things that are going on, and I think the one thing that Mike Zimmer was going to do is Mike is not just going to sit there and continually play the hand he's got. Mike is going to try and find a way to do things with the personnel he has. He's going to mix and match and and try and use Overshown. He's going to try and use, Wilson. Hey, he realizes, damn, if I put Wilson in coverage, I'm going to get killed. If I put Wilson as a blitzer, he's going to play. He's going to play well. Hey, wait a minute. Let's put Jordan Lewis on the outside. I think the last time I saw Jordan Lewis, I know last week he played some field corner, outside corner. I don't think I've seen Jordan Lewis play field corner since his Michigan days when we were evaluating. He normally is, but what are they trying to do? They're trying to kind of piecemeal some things together because they're really banged up in their beat, but they've getting some guys that are playing at a much better level. And I think that's the thing that I encourage by this defense that way. Yes, this defense can hold you in games for a half. But if this offense doesn't do better finishing drives, and that's on Mike McCarthy too. You rip off long runs with Rico Dowdle, and then you throw the ball 3 straight times and punt the ball. Crazy. Don't be stupid. Yeah. Don't do that. You see what's going on the defensive side of the ball. They are trying their damnedest to stay in these games. The first drive of the game, Dallas looked awful on defense. Yeah. The run, looked awful. And what did they do? Figured things out. Started playing the run a little bit better. Didn't let the running backs kill them. Sure. Covered on the outside. Got pressure. It's where your defense. That should be your hope. This offense doesn't give me any hope right now. CeeDee Lamb playing with his food today. He should have lit these guys up the way that he's the way we've seen him play in the past. Those drops, that's not going to get it done. Yeah. Not going to get it done at all. So they've got to get better, and they've got to figure out if they're going to really legitimately try and get back in this thing. How to do things better on offense, because right now it's just not good enough.
Rico Dowdle had 22 carries for 112 yards. That might be his best day ever, I believe, and one touchdown there. And Cooper Rush, man, Mike McCarthy can lie to us all he wants, be like, yeah, we don't want Cooper Rush throwing the ball 30 times, 40 times. Mike McCarthy wants to throw the ball 30, 40 times no matter who's that quarterback, man.
It doesn't matter. I mean, if you sit there and throw Cooper Rush 35 times a game, you are going to lose football games. Yeah. That is that. And they didn't lose today, but Cooper Rush is not built to throw the ball 35 times in an NFL game. It's not good. Yeah. It's not the way, they got fortunate again. They've had special teams touchdowns last week. They had a defensive touchdown this week. They've been fortunate that their special teams bailed them out last week. And then, that Overshown made one of the most athletic plays I've ever seen. But Mike McCarthy, you could sit there and to me, it was a game where you load up Rico Dowdle, and if you wanted to play Ezekiel Elliott and run him in this game for 40 yards, you probably could have run him, and that's how you're going to win this football game today. You did win the football game. It got a little close at the end, a hell of a play by Cooks, the pass that Cooper Rush threw. I mean, Cooks bailed him out on it. Yeah. But you throw that ball 35 or more times with Cooper Rush, you are looking to lose football games. And, but that's what Mike McCarthy is going to do.
Brian, I try to tell people, man, that we shouldn't be numb to one's greatness. We was doing the last post-game show, and we're talking about, who's the impact players of the game? And it's like we named everybody but Micah Parsons because Mike is so great, right? But in real life, it's such a difference when he's on the field, Brian. It's so huge. Different. He dictates how the other team plays, and all of a sudden Osa's doing something now, and Mozzie gets a one-on-one with John Michael Smith and all this kind of stuff, and then Micah's getting his own 2 sacks. It's like a sack and a half, but that's 2 sacks to me. And then he gets his own 2 sacks, and he was decent.
Yeah, you can't take a half sack away from Mozzie, you bum.
What are you doing? Micah got to the quarterback 2 times, Brian Bryce. That's 2 sacks. It's not a sack and a half. It just happened that Mozzie got there with him the other time. Are you even to play with me?
But Mozzie got there. Mozzie got there.
Mozzie stumbled into Micah Parsons sacking somebody already, Brian. I just don't want us to get numb to Micah Parsons and how great he played, and Carl Lawson, quietly having another day too. So just talk about Micah Parsons, the pass rush, and all this kind of stuff, getting a little better.
Yeah, he's a problem. Micah Parsons is a problem, and Mike Zimmer has figured out how to move him around. Dan Quinn was kind of figuring out how to move him around, but not to the level of what Mike Zimmer's doing right now. And it's unfortunate that those games that Micah missed because of the high ankle sprain. I mean, the Giants game was the game he got hurt in. So, unfortunately, they lost part of the season with him. But you're right about Micah Parsons. His ability, when there are bad offensive linemen on the other side of the field, Mike Zimmer will find those matchups. Yeah. He will find okay, we will find a way to blitz. We'll find a way to put him as a three technique on the outside shoulder of the guard. Yeah. We'll put him on the edge. We'll stand him up. We'll run him through the middle. You're getting teams now. What are teams doing to prevent the blitz and that stuff that's happening on the inside and the pressure they're getting on the inside? They're putting players like personal protectors, on punt team, the shotgun snap and putting blockers up front to prevent what the Cowboys are doing with their inside pass rush. And Micah Parsons is a big part of that.
Yeah, man, Brian, I tell you what, man, I am grateful to be able to work with you, man. I'm thankful to be able to work with you. I've been a fan of yours for a long time. You hate when I start talking like this, but it is what it is. I've been a fan of you for a long time, so just being able to do this with you on the daily, I feel like if I didn't work hard, you'll call me out and call me lazy. So I enjoy working hard and coming to work with you, man. And we got a lot of good stuff to do in the future, man. I'm grateful and I'm thankful after a long football game that you would just hop on the channel and just come talk to little Voch Lombardi about this win.
No, I tell you what, I enjoy working with you. I'm very thankful for the relationship that you and I have. I've admired your work for a long time, too. I'm not trying to make this a love fest, but I think you and I have got a pretty good partnership, and I think there's a lot more things that we're looking forward to in the future. It's always a pleasure to be with everybody. Your audience is tremendous. I've loved the interaction with them. It's exciting when they win a game. I know that drives you nuts because you're thinking about drafting guys, but you know what? Wherever they pick, you and I will have a player for them. I promise you we will. I promise you we'll have a player for them.
Shamar Stewart.
Let me ask you this real quick, though, bro.
Please.
People are talking about an offensive or defensive lineman. Am I wrong thinking there are more defensive tackles that I've seen that have been better than offensive tackles in this draft?
There's better D linemen in this class than offensive linemen. When we watch offensive linemen, it's a whole bunch of halfway guys or sometimes guy. He does this and doesn't do this guy. There's a bunch of D linemen for you. I think they're going to start with Graham from Michigan in the top 10. It's going to be a bunch of dudes in the teens and 20s. Yeah. I think the real spot is like when you get to the second round and some of those late first round talents end up in the second round, and the Cowboys allegedly having a high second round pick. Allegedly, we might pick in the middle of the damn second round, Brian. I don't know. I think you'll definitely be able to walk away with a really good.
See, that's what I agree with you on that, and I kind of feel like though, and I think people out there are terrified that Dallas can't draft a defensive tackle.
Sure.
I think there's some people out there that are terrified of that right now. Yeah. If you said, okay, if you want to help the offense line, or let me tell you what, there are going to be some defensive linemen that are better than offensive tackles that you're talking about picking.
Sure.
Be ready for that.
Sure.
Be ready for that. There are going to be some, but if you're one of those folks out there, guys or gals, if you're scared of picking a defensive lineman because Dallas can't pick a defensive tackle, then I don't know what to say, man. I don't think you can be scared, but me personally, from what I've seen early in this thing, kind of feel like they're better defensive linemen than are offensive linemen if that's the route you need to go.
I think Mozzie was the only real attempt to really invest in it, right? Yeah. Besides that, I mean, you'll throw a 7th rounder at Ridgeway, or a 7th rounder at Bohanna or something like that, a 7th rounder at Rogers, but like the real investments in first, second, third round picks or whatever. I think Osa's played a lot of games for you. I think some of the other guys, but this class of tackles is unlike the other class of tackles. I think whoever you get this year, I think you have a good one.
Yeah, I think the defensive tackles, like I say, the offensive tackles, I have a lot more questions about those cats than I do the defensive tackles in this draft. Anyway.
Hey, man, we'll find a way to talk about that 15th overall pick throughout the week, Brian Bros. Don't worry about it. But, hey, tomorrow is going to be our holiday, so you will not see us tomorrow. But we'll be right back at this thing Monday, and we'll break down some of what we saw. We'll be on our regular schedule program in there.
Your schedule.
Right? So y'all follow me at VOCHLOMBARDI. Y'all follow him at BRY. Yen brought us on all social medias. Go find somebody you love and tell them you love them. If you can't get close to them, then call them. All right. Y'all hold it down. We'll catch y'all next time. Crown.